Hello, welcome back to this section, where we will explore 50 curious, interesting, and fun facts about Singapore, one of our favorite cities. Almost a utopia, stay and learn why it has earned such a good reputation. Singapore transformed into a prosperous and economically successful nation over several decades, mainly since its independence in 1965. Before independence, it was a country in extreme poverty with few prospects. It is one of the smallest countries in the world, with just 682.7 square kilometers, ranking it 20th. The merlion, a mythical figure with the head of a lion and the body of a fish, is the symbol of Singapore. It has 4 official languages: English, Malay, Tamil, Mandarin. However, locals often speak Singlish and English with local touches. Huge cultural diversity that brings together races, ethnicities, religions from all over the world, and it is easy to notice traces of Chinese, Malay, Indian, Arab, and British cultures. Selling and chewing gum is prohibited to avoid littering the floor. If you are found selling or chewing gum, you will receive a fine of up to $500. Singapore is expensive, very expensive. In fact, it is considered the most expensive city in the world to live in. Despite this, there are many free activities for visitors, such as the daily light show at Marina Bay, that of the Gardens by the Bay, or the many public parks. In Singapore, ice cream is eaten with bread, not in a cone. Singapore has the world's largest infinity pool. The pool is located in one of its most famous hotels, the Marina Bay Sands, and to access it, you must be a guest. According to a study by the British Council, Singaporeans are the fastest walkers in the world. With how fast they walk, in Singapore, it's not worth having a car. To be able to use it, you need a government certificate called COE, Certificate of Entitlement. This accreditation is not cheap at all, costing about €50,000 for a regular car and lasts 10 years. Singapore is home to the only Universal Studios in South Asia. The amusement park is located in Sentosa, a 5 km island that concentrates many of the entertainment offerings such as beaches, museums, casinos, restaurants, and hotels. Singapore is famous for having some of the cleanest streets in the world throughout its small territory. With only 710 square kilometers of surface area, Singapore is both a city and a country at the same time. The only way to continue growing has been through expansion projects where they gain space from the sea. In the last 50 years, the country has increased its surface area by 20%. In the territory gained from the sea, there are Gardens by the Bay, a 54-hectare park that is a must-visit in the city. It has different areas, some of which require payment, but the open areas can be visited for free, and every night, nocturnal light and music shows are performed. The country has a collection of more than 3,000 orchids in its National Orchid Garden. Among these are some hybrids created in its laboratory. It is said that in Singapore, the national sport is shopping, and its many kilometers dedicated to stores prove it. The quintessential shopping area is Orchard Road, an avenue of more than 2 kilometers that concentrates more than 20 shopping centers with stores ranging from the most luxurious to accessible brands. Singapore has the best airport in the world. You only need to see it for a moment to realize. Singapore is one of the safest countries. Although you rarely see a policeman, Singapore is very safe. This is because many are in plain clothes, and also because signs are used to ask for support from citizens to prevent crime and infractions. In the subway, you can find signs asking you to send a photo by WhatsApp to the police if you see something improper, notices about some crime that occurred, or a request for witnesses. Travel insurance is mandatory. One of the must-visits for tourists in Singapore is heading to the Long Bar at the iconic Raffles Hotel to enjoy the famous Singapore Sling cocktail. It is possible that hotels and activities in Singapore are not always the cheapest, but travelers love that their street food has remained relatively cheap while being highly hygienic and of high quality. Changi is not only the best airport in the world but also one of the busiest in terms of air traffic in Asia. For this reason, skyscrapers cannot be taller than 280 meters. The cleanliness of public toilets is very important in Singapore, to the point that not flushing the toilet after use carries a fine of 500 Singapore dollars. Before adopting its current name, the country was called Temasek, which means sea town in Javanese. Singapore is a member of the Commonwealth, so its inhabitants can vote in British elections. The 5 stars on the flag of Singapore represent the ideals of democracy, peace, progress, justice, and equality. The red color is a sign of brotherhood, while white indicates purity. They have a national day for planting trees, and in your country, do they celebrate something similar? 92% of Singaporeans own their home, the highest rate in the world. The cause? More than 80% of homes are subsidized by the government. A model for other countries. All men have to handle weapons when they turn 18 years old. In Singapore, 1 to 2 years of military recruitment is mandatory. Another of the curiosities of Singapore related to money is that it is the country with the highest concentration of millionaires. 1 in 6 people has more than $1 million in the bank. Another of the curiosities of Singapore is that elevators are equipped with urine detectors. To prevent uncivil acts, there is a law that specifically prohibits urinating in public spaces. If it is detected that someone does not comply, the doors are locked until the police arrive. The $1,000 bills have the national anthem lyrics printed on the back. The population is considered the healthiest in the world. Singapore is one of the only 3 states in the world that do not have a capital. The other 2 are Monaco and Vatican City. If you fancy a cold Coca-Cola but don't have loose change in Singapore, there is a machine that is satisfied with a hug. At the National University of Singapore, there is a vending machine with the words, "Hug me." When it detects that you put your arms around it, it gives you a can of soda. No matter that Singapore is one of the smallest countries in the world. Its president earns 4 times more than the President of the United States. It does not have differentiated seasons, being practically all year very hot and sunny weather. The exception is during the monsoon season, in the southwest from May to September, in the northeast from November to March, when it is hot but also frequently rains. The name Singapore is an acronym of the words Sing, which means lion in Malay, and the word Por, which means city in Sanskrit. It houses one of the 3 botanical gardens considered World Heritage by UNESCO, which also houses the largest orchid garden in the world. Every October 1st is dedicated to children under 12 years old. Even teachers bring them gifts, and on Friday of that week, they have the day off. It is also called the Garden City because it is considered one of the greenest cities in the world, with many nature reserves and parks covering about half of its territory. Smoking in public places, including electronic cigarettes, is prohibited. It is prohibited to gather in a group of more than 3 people after 10 p.m. in a public space, since making noise after this hour is prohibited. It hosts the only Asian stage of the Formula 1 Grand Prix. Singapore has more species of trees than all of North America. The government discourages the purchase of cars, with a tax of 1.5 times the price of the car in taxes. The population is also considered one of the smartest in the world, with a high concentration of IQ. It is a young country. Its independence from Malaysia was officially made in 1965. In Singapore, tipping is not given, as the value is already integrated into the product or service. And with that, we conclude our tour of Singapore. What did you think of this truly peculiar country? Comment what you think. Thank you for watching and supporting the video, that helps us a lot to continue creating content for you. If you liked it, we have more videos of curious facts about different countries on the channel, so don't hesitate to take a look. See you.